Well, it is I, your boy, Krown, and welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, where we're going to get into some very serious topics today, talking about mad trading and money business. And with that said, I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest. I know that it is a holiday season, and without offending anyone within the world, happy holidays to everyone out there. And if you don't celebrate the holidays, happy Thursday? No, Wednesday. Shit, I got the fucking day wrong. It's all fucked up now. No. Anyways, plenty to talk about today as Bitcoin does reclaim the 3-day closure and more importantly, still hovering within range. So with that said, I want to put the focus over here in the Krown Chain application, which you found at app.krownchain.yet. And actually, I should mention that yes, we do have our sale going on. I'll get back to that later. We got some very pertinent topics to get into right now. And looking at the open interest, what do we see? Still coming down a little bit, but overall holding the range, as we did see it go all the way up to just about 4 billion at the end of the last week, I believe it was, then came down quite significantly with price action that was 2 days ago on that big old dump party from about 24,000 to 22,000. But with that happening, the open interest was shaved off quite a significant amount, which did suggest that that was profit taking. So within the context of the current trend and the current market structure, that still does align with more or less a healthy consolidation, or at least that is my main bias within this range as it stands right now. Regardless of yesterday's short-term downside, of which we did get kind of that move, but we'll follow up on that soon enough. Anyways, looking at Bitcoin dominance shooting up a shit ton once again. Jesus Christ, man, this is just, I mean, all jokes aside, this is like absolutely insane for alts here. Even when Bitcoin's literally ranging, Bitcoin is ranging right now. There's no rest for them, no rest at all. So it's Bitcoin breakout, alt wrecked. Bitcoin breakdown, alt wrecked. Bitcoin goes sideways, alt wrecked. Bitcoin does sneeze, alt's wrecked. It's just fucked up, man. Fear and greed index also popping up 5 points from an 88 to a 93 as Bitcoin again holds the range. So not really anything too out of the ordinary here, but more or less following up. And the biggest change was on the Bitcoin dominance, obviously. Moving into the data tab, what do we see over here? Well, let's load the page first. And we do see that the funding rate is still more or less inconsequential. Yes, we do see FTX all the way out in fucking outer space at 0.13%. But that on its own, we've seen that before, and it's just not enough. I need to see 3+ exchanges get above that critical rate, and as you can see, the majority, certainly the consensus among them, is not 0.01%. And I gotta warn you before we get into this one today that man, my head is killing me. I haven't had a headache in like years, I think, and now I'm dealing with like the first one in a long time. I don't know, man. I guess it actually does kind of suck. Also, what else do I want to say? Yes, Twitch. I'll probably be on Twitch later today, assuming that, I survived this very terrible time of headache. I mean, it is pretty fucking annoying, but I'm sure that we can go watch price action a little bit later together. And so you're more than welcome to join on in, and the link is in the description below. Anyways, we'll go into the actual price action charts themselves now. And yes, Bitcoin did close the 3-day dildo above the topside shoulder band. So I want to, actually, let's get on to that in just a second here. I want to follow up on yesterday's short-term time frame analysis once again. As we did say yesterday, Bitcoin was put in a little bit of a ascending triangle right here, and I was looking for a sweep of the prior low, somewhere in the low $22,000 region, maybe even upper $21,000 region. We almost got that. Close enough is close enough in this case. Yes, I was looking for a little bit lower, but this is essentially the signature that I was looking for. Down in this wick right here, gets bought back on up, range holds, and then the focus was on the 3-day closure. So I wanted to be very, very forthright with that. And now where does that lead us up with now? Well, that leads us up with more sideways on the short and medium term timeframes, but on the 3-day right here, I do like this closure. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, but Krown, that's a hangman, Jesus Christ dildo right there. And technically, yes, it is. However, when you do see a dildo like this where it actually closes after a little bit of a dump off intra candle, I guess, then that is going to be suggestive that it was essentially bought back on up, and closing above this region right here does supersede everything else. And so yes, I do remain just overall bullish on this range in line with the overall trend. And looking at momentum oscillators on our secondary charts right here, we do still see that the ADX is actually strengthening, even though technically speaking, it could have a little bit of issues right here. And still the scenario that we spoke about yesterday is very much viable, but the points of relevancy for it are, well, they're basically the same. Either a tick below the last 3-day low, which is 21,864 spot 86 cents on this is Stamp, and I'm sure that all the exchanges are more or less within that region, or a 4-hour close closure below the bottom side of this range, which currently speaking, let's just call it about 22,400, about the low of yesterday. If one of those two things happens, yes, we can still, look for that same sort of move that we spoke about yesterday. However, as you can see right now, I'm not necessarily leaning towards that with the way that 3-day closed, as we do still see, like I said, ADX strengthening, and the MACD is, it's still kind of increasing there on the histogram as well, I suppose. Now there will be problems, obviously, but I really want to see like 3 drives of divergence, especially on, MACD histogram and 3-day RSI as well, before I really start to, look at this as, as like a likely major pullback. For right now, we do certainly have big pullbacks, but within the context of the current of the current structure, nothing was really broken on even like a medium-term time frame. So that doesn't really change all that much. It's just the deception of these massive numbers over here on the left side of your screen makes it seem like it's bigger than it actually is. Anyways, let me just make sure that I'm recording and my microphone's working. Okay, good, great, awesome, beautiful, phenomenal. All right, let's go into the main charts over here. And while we're on the lower term time frames, like the 4-hour, yes, just looking at it right now, putting on our drawing tools, you can see very easily it's basically the same range as yesterday between the 2-spot extension and the 2-spot 414. I have it a little bit lower than that, right around 22. I'd like to really be like around yesterday's low, actually. Or what we could do? We could just make a nice little liquid zone right here. So we'll do a closing on 22.6, and we'll do a bottom on yesterday's low at about 22.4. So a $200 range right there. Not, again, these are getting bigger and bigger because the price is like, is getting bigger and bigger as well. But keep in mind that a $200 move at a $22,000 number is, not all that much. So we do need to be a little bit more inclusive of such things within this current move here. And then of course we can do the same thing to the upside here as well, especially with yesterday's wick right there. And once again, Bitcoin just playing off the same area. So now we do have a very well-defined consolidation area, of which we pretty much had before, but with another couple tests within this, as we already seen, that does really solidify as such. So what would I be looking for now within this? Now, again, higher term timeframes still all bullish. There's nothing really bearish about anything on the daily, 2-day, 3-day, weekly, bi-weekly for that matter, monthly, bi-monthly, and quarterly as well. So I do still remain with my long-term bullishness. However, like we said, on the 3-day, that will change either by taking out last 3-day low, which is going to be this low right here at 21.8 for BitMexico. Check your exchange again, or a 4-hour delta closure below the bottom side of this blue box territory. Until one of those two things happens, I'm just generally looking for price action kind of float its way upwards and onwards, and it can play within this range for as long as it wants, really. Now, with that said, do I think that Bitcoin is ready to just blast on and green dildo its way to the fucking moons right now? No, probably not. At least let's look at momentum oscillators right here. What do we see? 4-hour RSI, we do see a little bit of potential bearish evidence actually being formed right there, although that wouldn't make too much sense. Yeah, that's probably not going to be confirmed, of course, as I'm using, it's grabbing a point way the fuck back on over here, so that would not be relevant. And more importantly, it would suggest overall health, but sideways within this region, and probably does come back down and swipe the lows of yesterday once again. Would like to see a backfill on yesterday's just general open, which was 22,800 we'll call. So anywhere down around there, I do think that Bitcoin probably does retest, and very likely does bounce off that region as well. We still see historical volatility percentile expanding on the daily, by the way, which in the context of this current trend to the upside, I still look for this to likely claw its way onwards and upwards a little bit more here. Anyways, back down into lower term timeframes. I want to make sure that we get through everything first and foremost. And what do we see? Historical volatility percentile did get read as the devil's dick just for a few days there, of which that was within the context of this nice little horizontal consolidation. So I'd be looking for this to cool off a little bit more, come down probably into the teens, maybe even single digits as well, and then Bitcoin probably ready to actually break the range once again. Now, of course, I would lean more or less to the upside, but whichever way that it breaks upon these two, a tale of two blue boxes, you might say, is going to really judge the next sort of major move. Now, of course, we didn't really talk about the result of those moves just yet, as I don't necessarily think that it's in danger of moving like this at this particular moment. But if we were to break to the downside, targets down below $21,000 would certainly be initiated. Down to the 1.272 is where I'd generally be looking, and potential for continuation further south into the $19,000 region. But this is where kind of my first target would be if this area broke right here. By the same token, to the upside, if we did have a 4-hour delta closure, and I'd really be a lot more lenient with this, less lenient with this and more stringent with this, and I'd really want to see a closure above the top side of this at 24,200. More aggressive traders will just look for 24,000 even. anywhere above this closing high right here, or sorry, I guess it's this closing high right here. Yeah, that's going to be 23,850 actually. Probably is good enough to be fair, but if you do want to be super conservative, either taking out, yes, I guess this would be yesterday's high, or is this today's high? Hold on, let me just double check on this. Actually, that's today's high, to be fair. All right, well, fair enough. That's about $24,070 on BitMexico. Then yes, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to generally float on up. We do have a nice little consolidation here, so we can make a measure move based upon this, and that would be pointed up north towards the 3 spot extension right here at about 25,750. Now there would be an area of relevancy before that at the 2 spot 618. That's actually a big one. So I'm a little bit curious to see that there's not really anything else coming in at this level, at least as of now. So I would be a bit defensive there because that actually is a bit of a trappy area, to be fair. But technically speaking, if Bitcoin could close, any sort of a time frame, even as low as like a 4 hour above this level, then yeah, I'd extend that run another $1,000, and we can talk about a move nearly to $26,000. Crazy as it sounds. As it stands right now, though, I'm looking for a little more sideways within this range. Probably does come back down and test around yesterday's low, whether it be like 22.7 even, or maybe 22.9, somewhere around there. Probably does look about right, and then game on once again. I would be looking for a bounce up this level is what I'm trying to say, as historical volatility percentile continues to contract. So that's what I want to look for, and that's probably just going to take some time as we go back down and cool this baby off for the next potential move. What else do we want to say? Do we have anything on Stokes? We do have Stokes pointed up and northwards right here. Oh, I should also denote this as well. This little lovely indicator actually provided by one of our community members, KVDB actually, and you can find it right here. It's pretty cool. He's got actually a bunch of different tools. Just type in his name, KVDB, on the public library. This is actually the one that I'm using right here. It's completely free, completely public, and there you go. He also has some other cool tools as well, so definitely worth checking out if you are so inclined. As I don't know, seems like he's on the ball with that. Anyways, what else do we want to say? Okay, so 4 hour Stokes are going to be up, and they're going to remain to the upside as long as we're above 22,900. That's a very interesting pivot point now, isn't it? Because that would be essentially the top side of your lower blue box territory right here. So what does that mean? It means that Bitcoin can come all the way back down there, and as long as it closes above, well, we're still in an upside posturing as far as momentum goes. So again, still a bullishly infused bias there. Now, of course, on the other side, that would mean that if we close below that pivot, well, now you have momentum turning down as you head into a pretty damn big support, or it's not necessarily that it's big support, it's just that it has a lot of price action kind of transacted around it. Then, well, that's at the point where maybe it might make sense to be looking for an actual break of this to the downside. I also want to follow up on the actually no, we'll get to that later because we want to get through the lower term timeframes first. What do we see on the 3 hour? We do see again sideways here. This one would be looking short term downside, but again long term very constructive. I still like this, but short term, yes, it would be down. Same thing on HVP. We're going into contraction phase right now. Moving average on it is starting to flatten out, and I imagine it gets a negative slope probably on the next tick if I had to guess. And looking at 3 hour momentum oscillators, we do see that actually it'll cross the downside below 23,000 and about 400, which is about $100 below where current price action is in the next 40 minutes and 30 seconds actually exactly. So keep an eye on that. Again, if that does cross the downside, I'd feel very confident with looking for another move back down somewhere around the 55 exponential moving average on the 3 hour right here, which is in line with yesterday's low. So anywhere around there would be good. Give or take $100. Within the ballpark is what we're looking for. What about the buy hourly? Do we see anything of a particular interest right here? Yeah, we do actually. We do see that there is hidden bearish divergence within this point right here on the 21st of December. So that would be this high right here, and then this high right here. That is, I would honestly say that that's already been confirmed with the way that this 2 hour is kind of formed right here, and that would be driving targets again to the low side of the range, and yeah, anywhere low 23,000 to upper 22,000 looks about right on that. Again, long term, very constructive, very fucking good. Really, really like this. But short term, yes, it would imply some downside, and I do believe that has a little bit more to play out. Same thing that we see here on the HVP. It's obviously precipitating the 3 and 4 hour. So I would be looking for this to just slowly cool on off, go into a contraction phase. Maybe over the next day or two, it probably brings it back down to the teens and single digits, and that's when I do think that Bitcoin's primed to actually move. So It could be that we have a bit of a Christmas move here. Now, is it going to be a red dildo or green dildo for Grammy as you sit down at the dinner table with her? That's a good question. But you shouldn't be sitting down at any tables with anyone because that is too dangerous, and you should be wearing your mask at dinner anyways, in between bites. There you go. Anyways, sorry. Couldn't help myself, man. All right, see, it's just a fucking bad attempt at humor. All right, don't go to me for like anything serious, okay? We're just having a silly goose time right now, that's all. Except, I mean, we're talking about fucking magic and money over here. It's like ridiculous, to begin with. 2 hour Stokes already pointed southwards and not crossing to the upside as long as we're below 23,750. So that would be, basically our current high on the 2 hour right there. Not anything too out of the ordinary as well. And then we can go down to the hourly and see what this one has to say. And this one obviously already precipitating all of the other ones and will remain to the downside as long as we're below 24,000. So again, short term sideways and down is what I'm looking for here. Contrary to yesterday, which was sideways and up, I guess, of which we do see on historical volatility percentile. I would still be looking for this one to actually contract. The moving average tells a story right here. Until that gets a positive slope, I would not look at that as primed for anything more than just a short-term move. I'm looking for all the short-term timeframes to go into a contraction phase, and wherever the 200 simple is and 200 exponential moving average, exponential moving averages is where I'd be kind of looking for on this next droop onto the downside. But again, that does not make me bearish on the whole. Long term, pretty much all bullish. Short term, medium term, I mean, a little bit of sideways and down is completely fine, but that's more or less a setup in the way that I look at it for at least for right now. On the hourly RSI, we do see actually a head and shoulders right here, which is putting itself in price action as well. While momentum also has returned to the south side. We can make a very bad measure move on this one as well. Obviously, the RSI coming in from here. It's not going to be too accurate, but I'll be looking for a test somewhere around the edge of the bearish, around the edge of the bearish control zone right there, and that likely does bounce it somewhere around that region. So again, short term, a little bit of downside, yes, but I'd be looking for bounces anywhere around here, anywhere in the upper $22,000 region or low $23,000 region, without getting too specific. All right, onto the 12-hour we go, and what do we see over here? We do see 12-hour is still looking. It's still looking more or less sideways. Yes, it is. It is still an uptrend. I mean, even on the fucking 4 hour, I don't think that we didn't do anything resembling a downtrend. Now we do potentially have a lower high right here, but as long as it doesn't print a lower low, there is no reversal of trend just yet. Anyways, going back onto the 12 hour, obviously there's no reversal of trend even really possible here as long as we're above the last 12 hour low, which is now freshly confirmed at 22,650. We'll call it. So as long as we're getting 12 hour closures above there, more or less good, more or less the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. And we do see that 12-hour Stokes will cross back onto the upside with any sort of a closure above 23,850, which is very interesting here because that obviously would be on new highs for this run, and that would mean that momentum turns up as Bitcoin makes new highs, aka continuation of trend to the upside with momentum on its side. Probably gonna tag that 24,500 number that we identified earlier off the 2.618, I believe it was. However, until then, I'm basically looking for this one to probably peter on out a little bit here, come back down, and then give another try. Maybe later this week or early next week. The way that the 3-day and the weekly closed, obviously last week, these are both still looking like continuation to me. I don't really change my stance on that. I am more or less bullish on the whole. It's up to the lower term timeframes to kind of figure out when it actually wants to initiate that move. So I know that things look really, really crazy right here. I know that things look absolutely fucking like otherworldly in a lot of senses too. But it can always get more crazy. That's one of the things that I've certainly learned in my past as well. It can always get more crazy than what you think. Anyways, going on to the daily, what do we see right here? We do see daily, anything of particular note. Historic volatility percentile still increasing right here. I want to see that curl back around, and that likely does beget our next move as well. But here's the thing, and here's something that I do want to really get out, is that the next time that we start to really turn red for a slew of closures is the next time where I'll actually be a lot more comfortable calling at the very least a local major high and potentially even a major reversal as well. Now we did have an example right here, but this one was obviously just reversal within the context of the current trend, and it did lead up to about 3 months to 3 weeks to a month of sideways price action. but before further continuation. So essentially a stopping off point, which can turn into reversal, but in this case, obviously continuation. It's essentially saying, hey, we're going to go consolidate for a long time, and this is the time to be playing ranges rather than looking for the home run trades. Same thing over here. Once it starts to print red, this is your major reversal on the lows. Same thing over here in 2014. Major reversal on the highs in this case. Same thing over here as our more recent one, where it did trade sideways for about a month and a half, in a big range, that is. And of course, 6,000 low was the prior example before that. So all of these do matter, of course, and as you can see, we're building up to it. I mean, it's clearly and constructively building up into the upper 80s now. In fact, currently printing an 89.3 read, so it won't take too much more to actually get that up into the 90s, which it will start to turn red. But I want to see multiple turn red, so it's probably going to happen fast. And I want to follow up now on the 3-day jewel signal that I was talking about yesterday that I alluded to. Now, while it is a potential still, and we did just get a new 3-day dildo, by the way, so that's why this is relevant right now. There's no negative slopes on it as it stands. Keep in mind, when it does go negative, it's probably going to happen extremely fast all in one little 3-day dildo. But the reversal from that, as we've seen in the past, typically does get a lot of continuation. If we go over the last few examples right here in January 2017, these are all, if we reference this, I mean, these are all pretty nasty pullbacks here. So we got, where's my January 2017? Yeah, January 2017, that's your 33.5% pullback right there. We have another example, not right there, but right here. Yes, okay, so that one's a 38.75% reversal. We got this one right here once again. That's another almost 40% right there. And then of course the high at $20,000. Which, I mean, almost immediately did about 42%, and then overall did about 69%, which is a great number. I mean, then you can just measure it all the way down here, but I think that's a little bit besides the point. So as it stands right now, it's still potential, yes, but is it actionable? Is it actually giving off the signal that we spoke about yesterday? No, it's not. So I will be sharing that as long as it's potential, as I do believe that probably does get the next major pullback here. But for now, still remaining in an upside posturing, and more importantly, if you're looking at this right here, just from the jewel perspective, that's still okay. I mean, it's not like the picture of fucking perfect right there, but it's still okay. Anyways, did we miss anything on the daily? I feel like we need to go back here. Oh, look at that, we're printing red actually now, as it does get into the 91.25 region. So this is going to happen relatively fast, I'd say. What about daily Stokes? Going to cross the upside as long as we're above 23,500. So that's a very interesting read right there, because that would suggest that if Bitcoin basically closes above this level, momentum will turn back onto the upside, and momentum turning back onto the upside. Well, the daily essentially does, it's actually not going to print a new high around there, but it's certainly going to approach it very, 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 very closely. That would be another indication that we probably are ready to break out as well. So I would be cognizant of that, but that's obviously got a long day to go. We got 18 hours and 31 minutes and 1 second of trading left before that is proximal. Anyways, moving on to the 2-day, what do we have right here? 2-day, again, I know a lot of people are calling this out yesterday, and a lot of people were getting on my case about Krown. Why did you not call out the 2-day bearish engulfing dildo? Because I don't think that it's going to play. It's pretty damn simple right here. You typically don't see it like a tweezer top or bearish engulfing like this that plays out in that direction after like just the breakout like this. Typically going to see it like after an extended run, which this is an extended run, but my point is that you want to see the breakout, trade a little bit of sideways, and then put it in. In this case right here, we don't really have that, and the breakout volume on the last major dildo was your indication of that, as we identified last week. As this is obviously an outlier right here, and if this is an outlier, what would that imply? We have something new going on. So this bearish engulfing right here, if you want to look at it as a tweezer top as well, unlikely to work like that. You want to see this actually start to dissipate a little bit, because this is a whole new era compared to what we were doing before, as you do see that this is increasing, showing that there's more market participation within this rally, and likely to at least try again to the upside. While we do bring up momentum oscillators over here, what do we see? We do see 2-day RSI, more or less constructive, actually pretty damn good here. Sideways and up would be the name of the game there. More importantly, 2-day historical volatility percentile still increasing as well, as it has been. I believe that we get another close tonight. Yeah, we do get another close tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I want to see that maintain its trajectory. And this one as well, I think is actually a little bit better than the daily because it only gets major pivotal points on the market. However, it will miss some as well, just because it it is a higher term time frame like that. But anytime that you do see red on this time frame for HVP, that is going to be at the very least a big major high, or sorry, it's either going to be a major high or a major low. And it's kind of similar to what we talked about before, but let me just give you a few examples here. This one was your low on coronavirus dump at 4,000. This one was your high in the $14,000 run in 2019. We didn't even actually print red on the $3,000 dump right here, which is pretty damn crazy. 20,000 high before that, 6,000 low after that, and then a few highs along this way on this upside rally here. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to reverse, for forever on the macro trend, but on the higher term timeframes, you do see reversals here, which, get 30 to 40% moves to the downside. So that is very much relevant, but is it actionable right now? No, it's not. Obviously it's not, because we're not anywhere. Well, I mean, it's not that we're not anywhere near it. We are certainly near it. It's just going to take a little more time, obviously, because each and every, it doesn't even close each and every day. It closes each and every 2 days, as the name would imply. Anyways, moving on now. I think that we already kind of spoke about the 3-day as much as I wanted to. 3-day historical volatility percentile expanding as well. And this is what I put the most weight on, actually, because we did come all the way down to a single digit read. In fact, a 0 read not so long ago in late November. And anytime that we've seen that after a long consolidation, a long contraction phase, usually, plays to the tune of about 3 months to maybe even 4 months on the more aggressive ends, more conservative end, we do see expansion from those regions as extreme moves. The last time that we saw it get this low was not even as aggressive as a contraction phase, and it did not have the same sort of read as the moving average on this as well. So it wasn't of the same cut, is what I'm trying to say. And this one produced, a $3,500 move, I believe, which at this price point was a pretty phenomenal move, a 37.5% almost move from bottom to top right there. But that's, again, not a perfect signal. The time before that we actually have a really good signal right here where it gets incredibly low and then the moving average turns up as volatility expands was right here. And that was that would have told you about the $10,000 high before the next $4,000 low. The time before that was this breakout right here from 4,000 to 14,000. Now, 14,000 a little bit further away, but I would say that it's very relevant to say that that first splurt up, at least from this area to this area, was very relevant, and that's a 43% move as well. You can go back to 6,000 over here in 2018 before that 50% drop as well. So again, it's it's expanding from this level, of which that would be taken from the upper $17,000 level, which actually we are about 35.75% up from there. But realistically, I'm not looking for the culmination of this move until we start to, at the very least, print yellow or orange on this, and preferably red, especially within the current market dynamics when we're quite literally in a parabolic blow off right now. I'd be looking for that to hit extremes rather than the lower echelons of extremes before calling like that next major macro top. And that's probably what does get the next macro top, if I had to guess, or at least major high before some sort of like a greater pullback. I'm talking like 40% plus probably. So it's still got a ways to go, to be fair. Doesn't mean that we can't have downs in between then. Obviously, we're going to. I mean, we saw like a $2,000 move yesterday, basically, or I guess the day before that on the 21st. Yeah, so that would be Monday. But that doesn't really destroy structure again. So it always needs to be interpreted within the context of the current structure, and nothing's really changed there, to be fair. Anyways, what else do we want to talk about? We're already 28 minutes into this video, and I haven't even covered traditional markets. Let's go over to NASDAQ futures. I'm guessing that we are charging back up here, and what do you know, same shit. And I was wrong about this one yesterday. I said I was looking for another move back down to test around 12,550 around the prior low. We didn't get that. We did get a test down to 12,600. $50 off, close enough is close enough in this case. And the way that it did respond, and the way that yesterday's daily did close, and just the fact that it is a holiday week, and almost very rarely do you see major dump offs in the last couple weeks of December of the year, as most people just kind of posture for the end of the year, of course. And more importantly with this, I'd probably be looking for this one to just, float its way onwards and upwards as well. We do see the same sort of read on HVP here, actually, that you would expect to produce a major move, which is a little bit concerning. And by a little bit, I mean a shit ton concerning, actually. So with that said, I would be defensive against that. But I mean, the trend is your friend, and the trend is very obviously to the upside right here. Do you want to call a reversal when your RSI looks like this right now? I mean, this looks relatively constructive here. I mean, yeah, it probably does have a short-term move to the downside, but that probably gets picked up at the same time too. I'm not bearish on that. Weekly is just making new all-time highs, or is it making new all-time highs? Have we made new all-time highs already? Nope, $5 shy, $5.25 to be exact shy. But I'd still be looking for this one, or at least I'd give it a chance to make new all-time highs this week. Once again. Short term, however, would I be looking for a little bit of downside? If it does, I'd basically have the same target as yesterday, back down to like 12,550 or 12,530. But no further calls than that. SPY futures, same shit. This one's a lot more obviously angled to the downside. I would be looking for a move back down to 36.30 region to 36.20 region. Anywhere around there would look good, and I'd be looking for a bounce on that level as well. And you know what? This one's a lot more obvious than SPY right now, than NASDAQ right now. I know that NASDAQ does lead, but this one showing a bit of weakness does imply that we probably do come down with NAS as well. This one's just a more obvious chart here. So I would, I would be looking for that swipe once again, and then game on. I would be looking for a bounce off that same level, to be fair. However, I should note that actually the daily jewel is setting up for a sell signal on SPY futures. That is not good. That is really not good. Actually, that would be wow. And if that reverses and comes down aggressively, then you got to be looking for downside on Bitcoin too. Well, shit, man, this can get a lot more nasty than I guess. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too carried away here with my Bula-ishness. Let's see, MicroStrategy, again, still good, getting reaccumulated right here. I think that's completely fine. Momentum also is turning back up on the daily, still following that same trend line that we spoke about yesterday. And daily RSI is very good here. Very, 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 very good. So I'd say that would put the favor in the upside as well. For Bitcoin. Is there anything that I'm missing here? I feel like I'm missing something major here. Let's see. Is there anything? No. What about on a 12-hour? What about on a weekly? Yeah, there is something here on the weekly that I do want to talk about really quickly. Okay. Sorry, my nose is itching right now. Look at this. In the last run from 2014 to 2018, and that was this whole run right here, by the way. That was this run from basically like 250 all the way to $20,000. We do see that the weekly Stokes were actually running off this trend line the whole way through. Why is that relevant? Well, we have the same thing kind of going on right now too from our $4,000 low thus far. Something like this would be about right. Sorry, that's November 2019. So where was November 2019? That would be, yeah, right around here actually. So getting this low, then getting this low on coronavirus dump, then getting this low more recently at $10,000. And then I imagine that the next time that we do come back down, we probably put in a low somewhere around this region as well. It doesn't need to be perfect, just a regression. As you can see over here, it does naturally get more and more aggressive as time goes on. But I would keep an eye on that just more long-term as Bitcoin actually does come down more short-term right here. Hello, Sleeping Beauty. Welcome to Krown's Crypto Cave. How good to see you. She says hello. Nice one. Anyways, what else do I want to say? All right. We spoke about traditional a little bit. Save everything for Forex. Yeah, I didn't do Forex yesterday. I was actually feeling like really shitty. But what else do we want to check out? Is there anything else that we want to see here? Maybe gold could also be a little bit of a gold actually looking short-term downside here too. We didn't quite hit my 1950 target, but I'd still be looking for that overall to play out though. Hidden bullish divergence on the weekly, and Stokes turning up on the weekly as well. I'd remain looking a little bit northwards on this one. Short term, it probably does bounce here, to be fair. 4-hour golden cross using this area as support thus far. It's a very easy trade too, as long as we're above 1860 region. So a nice backstop right there. What else do we want to check out? Maybe some altcoins really quick. Altcoin versus Bitcoin getting absolutely fucking shreked once again. So how we doing on the dominance here? How's my little Bitcoin dominatrix doing? Cue Craig's fucking crazy picture that he always keeps posting. And there you are, man. There you are. Back into the upper 60s percent, of which it looks like we got all the way up just shy of 69%. Great number, by the way. And I remain with what I've been saying for a long time now, man. This is only going to get more and more aggressive. It's not stopping here. This is an actual, it's not necessarily a breakout because I don't think that it works like that on this chart. But I do believe that trend does matter on this, and I'd be looking for the next, short-term stop off around 71%. And realistically, I don't think that things will ultimately stop there. Just a short-term stop off probably comes back down to 67 or 65%, and then tries again to the upside. It's going to be it's looking incredibly bad for for alts. Incredibly bad for alts. On the whole, now of course there's going to be some winners here and there, but let's just go look at some of the more strong ones traditionally. This is Butyrol breaking last month's low. I mean, this is god awful here. All jokes aside, this is god awful. This one's coming back down to like 2 million satoshis or 2 million and a quarter satoshis, something like that over time. I've been saying full retrace for these things on a long for a long time now, and look at this. I mean, it's about to get a death cross on the daily. Now, to be fair, price action is very far away from the actual cross itself. It probably actually pumps into that, so I would actually be looking for a bounce on this relatively soon. But that bounce is strong probability of getting sold into. Very strong. What about Butyrol versus USD? Again, going to follow whatever Bitcoin does. Did come all the way back down to $600 as we spoke about yesterday. I'd be looking for it to probably stab 600 again and then try another bounce there. Today, I wouldn't say it needs to do anything, but price action is going to do what it's going to do. But if I want to remain bullish on it in the same way that I would kind of have that bullish narrative on Bitcoin, I want to see it close above the 10 simple, which is 625 right now. What about Litecoin, Bitcoin? Is this one melting as well? Oh, another lower high. How could that be? How could Charlie Reed do that to us? Litecoin USD though looks okay, looks fine. Probably does come down a little bit here, but long term looks okay. What about Linky? How you doing, Mr. Linky Stinky? Melting. I'm melting. Sorry, can't help myself, man. Short term down. Short term, I'd be looking for this one to swipe again on yesterday's lows. $11.50 or 11.75s, anywhere around there looks good to me. So short term is down. Long term though, I still give it a chance as long as the monthly is above last month open, which is that low $11 number. So keep in mind it will happen fast, but if that area does get taken out, big problems. But for right now, technically still okay. Short term is down though, however. So it's very interesting right now to see a lot of assets within this market, or a lot of cones within this market, even the traditionally stronger ones, not looking all that healthy right now. While Bitcoin is sideways, does that start to really dig into my narrative of remaining overall bullish on Bitcoin on the long term? No, it doesn't, because I still run with the trend here. That's just the way that I trade. It doesn't mean that's going to be right or wrong, but I have very clear and well-defined areas where I actually turn that around. I'm curious what Caretaker say about this as well. Let's see, Caretaker, what do you have to say about this? Short term would be down, yeah. And he's showing short term downside range actually way fucking low right there. He's showing 22. Jesus Christ, 22,400. Oh shit. Yeah, that's going to come up quite aggressively here. It's obviously going to come up. Jesus Christ, like maybe another couple $100. So yeah, it'll probably be somewhere around where this one is right now. So 22,650. I like the influence there. That should naturally happen, and we'll get another closure in 16 minutes and 36 seconds. So yeah, that will certainly change. What about on 4 hour? Do we see anything out of the ordinary right here? Would show the breakdown target though if Bitcoin really wants to gun for it, 21,600 to the upside, 25,000. But that would still be oh my god, that would still be a nice little range. What about on 12 hour? I'm just curious what it would say. Are we going to line up with any ranges here? Yeah, the 12 hours is showing a bull zone consolidation on a strong rising trend. Jesus Christ, yeah, that's way too, that's really far down. So obviously that's not gonna be relevant anytime soon. So what if we go down to maybe even a 2 hour? The lower term timeframes on this seem to get things a little bit more proximally. The higher term timeframes, yes, they do happen, but once in a blue moon. Bi-hourly, same shit. What about 3 hour? Same shit as well, actually. So a lot of things coming in around 21,500, and a lot of things coming in around about 25,000 as well. So I would mark those areas off, as it is showing activity in both those regions. Anyways, back on to Bitcoin spot over here. I think it's time to start to wrap this bitch up, and let's should we start off with the low term timeframes? Yeah, we'll start off with the low term timeframes. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. Bitcoin on the low term timeframes right here, 4 hour, holding the range once again. Did bounce off the bottom side support at 22.6 and did sell off on the top side resistance at 24,000. What does that mean? Bitcoin's still ranging, and the range is your friend until the end of the range is how the saying goes. Now, of course, this is within the context of a greater uptrend on all higher term timeframes. Don't really have any changes of narrative there, but if we do take out yesterday's, essentially yesterday's low or the last 3 day low. So the last 3 day low would be this right here at about 21,850, we'll call it. Check your exchange. It will be different upon the different exchanges, or a 4 hour delta closure below. Let's actually go back to our chart right here. Yeah, below this liquid zone right here at about 22.4. Then yes, I would be looking for a bit of a dump off from there, at least another $1,000 down, somewhere around the one spot 272, a little bit more than $1,000 down. And I would be looking for a bouncy bounce around this this level. So that'd be about 20,400 to 20,500, of which could there be further continuation on top of that? Yes, absolutely. But I'd want to see it in real time first. So that is still the actionable area for what we're looking at yesterday and today. And to the upside, this is going to be about 24,000 on a 4-hour total closure. If you want to be a little more conservative, I would wait for 24,150. Really not all that different, but I do think that it's worth repeating. Or if we take out today's current high at 24,070, probably does it as well. That's a very aggressive way of doing it, however, and then we could target moves up towards, obviously the 2-spot 618 is going to be showing 24,550, but there is a measure move off of this consolidation to be made that is in line directly with the 3-spot extension at 25,750, which is very interesting. Now, I imagine that there would be a short-term stop-off according to Caretaker's STC over here, somewhere around 25,000, because we do see all lower term timeframes showing activity around that region, but that unlikely does stop things, and I would be looking at this area for the next major area. As far as the interim goes, I actually would be looking for Bitcoin to trade back down around here. Probably does swipe the low around yesterday, whether it be the upper $22,000 region around 22.7 or 22.8, or the lower $23,000 region. It's all the same to me because we are dealing with big numbers right now. But I would also be looking for a bounce off this region once again as well. I'm not necessarily bearish on this because of the way that the 3-day closed yesterday and the way that the weekly closed on Sunday, as these both still point to continuation on the whole for new all-time highs on this price action. Technically speaking, we already did get a new all-time highs on the last 3-day dildo, but I run with that assumption as long as those conditions are met. So we have clear and well-defined areas bias, is generated by the higher term timeframes here, and I'll generally be looking to the upside after some short-term sideways and down. With that said, I would like to wish you the best of the best. Oh, and I fucking forgot. Yes, we do have a sale going on. It is a Christmas, it's the holiday sale. There you go, the holiday sale. All programs are 20% off. You don't need any code. You don't need anything like that. What I would strongly say is that if you are interested in these programs, please watch the videos that accompany them up here. They're going to tell you exactly who they're for, exactly who they're not for, so that you don't waste your time with them. Because especially for this program right here, the TA program and the options program, these are very financially intensive programs, obviously, and also, time intensive programs as well. So if you don't have the actual free time to invest in these, which for reference, they're about 40 hours. This one's probably above 40 hours right now, and this one's probably more around 30 to 35 hours. Then you're just not going to get enough out of it. And realistically, it's going to take a long time as well. These are not magic pills, obviously, as is nothing. What you put into it is what you will get out. And yes, if you do put a lot of work into it, we have a lot of guys who are doing incredibly well with it. However, if you do not, you can't really expect too many good results. It's not going to be a magic pill, and more importantly, it's going to require time as well. So for the guys who I do find who are successful, which is not everyone, to be fair, but for the guys who I do find who are successful, they typically take around a year of concerted effort if they're starting from basically ground zero or level 1, or around there. Some a little bit more, some a little bit less, but around a year is kind of what is usually the going rate. The Neophyte's initiation to trading and technical analysis, this one's a lot less of a commitment on both finances and time as well. It's very basic. It's very likely that if you have been around this channel for even just a few months, you're probably even above the level of content there. PineScript Mastery is from our own Mr. Mournfall. He will teach you how to create indicators in PineScript. Is that it? PineScript, yeah, PineScript. I'm not a coder myself, so I can't. I should probably actually look into this. But you'll actually be able to code your own indicators in the TradingView. As far as the partners tabs go, of course, we got the Caretaker STC, which I was showing earlier. Love it, and that is there for you as well. He's also got the RSI. Love that one as well. That one's a lifetime. And then Mr. Jackie has his own programs here too, of which he has his video program for his psychological program, which is actually really good, and it's going to perfectly complement a lot of the concepts that I allude to in my program. So it's a good kind of give and go between those. And then he also has his one-on-one group over here as well, which you're welcome to check out. So with all of that said, I want to wish you the best once again. Take care, and until next time.